You'd be so nice to come home to. You'd be so nice by the fire, while the breeze on high sings a lullaby. You'd be all that I could desire, under stars chilled by the winter, under an August moon burning up above. You'd be so nice, you'd be paradise to come home to and love.
Hello and welcome to What's Your Story? I'm your host, Dr. Lieseletta Schuster, and my guest today is RobertaMiles. Now, Roberta is a very talented woman. She is a painter. She teaches children artwork. She also is a singer, and she also has a monologue that she performs as a one-woman show. So she has so many things to talk about, so many things to share with us. Let's get started. Let me first thank Roberta for letting us into her lovely home.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Oh, absolutely. And we're surrounded by her dog. She also rescues Bijans. So
Yes.
we might be having some dogs coming up and down onto our laps. But first, Roberta, you do have a wonderful one-woman show. What is it called?
It's called Life, Work in Progress.
And you have a lot of different subjects that you discuss.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about sexual identity and depression and MS and eating disorders and some very personal information about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What made you choose to put this life in progress to a monologue to the stage?
Okay, originally I was looking for a monologue to memorize, and I couldn't find any that were suitable for me. So I thought one day, I'll just write something. And as soon as I started writing, it just started growing. I knew it was becoming bigger than I had ever imagined, and that was how history was made.
So let's take a moment and let's look at some excerpts of Life, Work in Progress by RobertaMiles.
When I was 6, they labeled me obese. When I was only 6, they started me on diet pills. And I was only 6 when my eating disorder began. I was only 6 when kids began to call me names. I was only 6 when I went into hiding. I was only 6 when my eating disorder began. I was only 6 when my sense of self became diminished. I was only 6 when my body image became distorted. I was only 6 when my eating disorder began. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I feel the need to scream. Or I stand in the cafe and I feel the need to scream. That's right before all the thoughts start to begin to bombard me. Then I fall back to sleep. I'd rather not face the day. I think about how soon it will be before I take another sleeping pill and drift off to sleep again. But I'm not depressed anymore. No, I'm tired. My life is even-keeled now. There are no secret boyfriends, no adrenaline racing through my body. The tingling that I feel now is only from the MS.
We just saw again another excerpt from RobertaMiles' monologue, Life, a Work in Progress. Now, Roberta, you also are a painter, or you're an artist, because you have a wide variety of mediums that you work with.
Yeah.
And now you have some artwork here in the home, so we're going to now take some time, and Roberta is going to talk to us about the artwork that she has done here in her home.
This is a
piece that I did as I was moving from classical work into the abstract. And as you can see, it's not totally abstraction yet, but it was a great stepping stone for me. I paint with lots and lots of layers. This being an earlier work doesn't have as many layers as the works I have done since, and this was my first voyage into using metals. And I am really drawn to shiny things and metals, so I use a lot of that in the paintings that I do now. Another example of the work that I do, giant gourds. I paint giant gourds. This is in the technique that I was talking about, the ground metals and the pigment. And these gourds are very popular. I sell them actually at a place called Pieces in Highland Park. And I also, of course, sell them directly. They have lots of different shapes, which makes them really fun. And these are called swans, this particular shape. And I always tease people because they don't believe these are real gourds, but you can hear the inside because I can't paint them until they've been dried out. There's apple shapes, and they all have different names. There's another, I have another apple here, so it's two apples. But there's snake gourds. There's all kinds of wonderful shapes, and so that's another thing that I do is I
So we just saw some of the artwork that Roberta does, and another talent that Roberta has is she is an excellent singer. I'm listening to her jazz CD, well, kind of like jazz love songs that you like to do.
So.
Well, I don't have any footage of you singing, but I know people can go to your website and hear you. So what's your website for people to
My
check
website is www.RobertaMiles.com. This is very easy, and there's a calendar page, and you can find out my gigs, my singing gigs, and any of the monologue performances that I'm doing, so it keeps you up to date.
So, once again, this is Roberta Miles, my guest, a very talented woman. So many great things that we've talked about today. And thank you once again for having me in your home and
My pleasure.
and letting people into your life and everything that you do. And once again, remember, each of us has a passion, each of us has a purpose. Always go for your dreams. And until next time, I'm your host, Dr. Lisa Schuster, for What's Your Story?
Thank you.
Lately I find myself out gazing at stars, hearing guitars like someone in love. Sometimes the things I do astound me, mostly whenever you're around me. Lately I seem to walk as though I had wings above